Hello, this is Matti. Long time no see. I've been doing a lot of gardening work, picking apples, making jam, and preserving those for the winter. But enough of that. A couple of weeks ago, we had band rehearsal with my band Melding, and I noticed that my bass pedal board was falling apart, disintegrating, pedals were falling off, the connections were coming loose and wasn't too great. So I decided to bring it home and build it from scratch. And since it's here, I thought that I'd give you guys a tour of what my rig is, at least the pedal board, the bass I'm using, some of those tones. The amp I'm currently using is an Ampeg BA-115, pretty classic practice amp, or you could do a lot of band rehearsals for quieter band. I have a little bit bigger stack at the rehearsal space, but this is my home amp. I couldn't find myself doing or practicing with one of those 20 watt practice amp. It just doesn't give me the kick that I need. This was the smallest amp that kind of does it for me, and it's pretty good sounding. Well, I could give you a hint of the tone so you don't have to guess. Yeah, so that's the tone I have dialed in now, so I can set up my pedals. They're pretty neutral. The pots are set at noon and stuff like that. Yeah, so the bass itself is an American Deluxe 5 from about 10 years ago. It's pretty good. Only complaint I have is that you adjust that truss rod from this end of the neck. There is like a hole that you should be able to access, but in practice I have to remove the neck to adjust the neck relief. But besides that, I've really grown to like this bass. It does everything I need for that band, at least. Yeah, so quite lengthy intro. Let's go to the pedals in question. You can see my signal route. The first thing I have is the Polytune, and this is great. It's fast, it's accurate, and I can see it in dark environments like a stage. Not that I play live too often, but it's really easy to use, and none of that kind of... I don't find that when I'm tuning up, the indicator would kind of swing wildly and I have to guess what's the correct tone. It's really good, and you could even do something like this to tune the strings at the same time, but I never use that. Anyway, then the signal goes to the noise suppressor from Boss, and I have it set up so that all of the other pedals are in the loop of the noise suppressor. This is actually what I learned recently from watching that pedal show, which is a great trove of information, but I find that this is really good for suppressing the noise and getting like a clear tone that the noise suppressor doesn't kind of mess around with too much. So let's put that on. Well, actually, I might demonstrate. This is the level of hiss you could hear without the noise suppressor, but it disappears when I put it on. So it's rather good. We can hear how it works with the distortion pedal when we get there. The first pedal that's actually doing something to the tone is the compressor, the Multicomp from EBS, and I play with a pick in that band with Melding because I'm doing a lot of you know, tremolo picking and stuff. So if I put that on, it kind of takes the edge off of some of those louder noises. So that kind of evens things up a little bit. Though I'm not completely sure that it's necessary, because the next pedal I have pretty much always on in that band. With Melding Blake we play really, I should say, maybe even extreme metal stuff, heavily influenced by some of those 90s black metal bands, and also kind of electro-industrial bands like Skinny Puppy and maybe Ministry even, though it's probably best you hear that for yourself. I will link to some of the songs in this video. Yeah, so the distortion. It's from Darkglass. One of the most popular distortion pedal makers is the Alpha Omega Ultra. I think it was their flagship when they released it. So it has graphical EQ, lot of tweaking to be done, and there's two distortion circuits that you can blend together, the Alpha circuit and the Omega circuit. And you can see I have it so that the Alpha circuit is more active. So this is the way it sounds. Okay, enough of that. I love letting it feedback like that. I just love that rumble. But I should show you perhaps a little bit what's the difference between the Alpha and the Omega circuit. So if I put it completely to the Alpha circuit, it's so it might be that I even like the Omega circuit a little bit more, but because I'm not in a void with just myself, I'm trying to fit into the general sound of the band. I find that my job is to kind of support the lower register, so I put it a little bit darker than I normally would. Yeah, and that kind of brings us to the last pedal. Our like little team. I'm the bass player, we have a drummer and a guitar player and some synths going on, usually from backing tracks. And since we have only one guitar player who plays sometimes kind of tremolo picky stuff, maybe from the higher register. It can happen that when he stops playing from the down register, all of those riffy stuff, it kind of loses some of the. It's not that full. It's not as full as we would like it to sound without the second guitar. So in those cases, I might help things a little bit by putting in the Boss Super Octave OC3, which would do an effect like this. I could do like something like this to support a riff that's going on from these abouts. This is just too much fun. I'm supposed to be present in the sound, but I'm kind of forgetting that and starting to play around. Yeah, so those are the basic sounds. To recap, it's really noisy. It's hard to make out what I'm playing, but you have to remember, within the context of the band, I have a function to perform. And that is to bring in the thunder, so to speak, to the total experience that is listening to Melding play Canal songs. And within that function, I have to kind of, let's say, lose a little bit of my ego and start to consider that sometimes it might make more sense to do something like this. Rather than going on like so the sounds I've created here kind of reflect on that and help me do my function within the group. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope you go and listen to some of those songs. Hey, might be sometimes I might do something like a bass playthrough of some of our older songs. We are currently working on our second album. It has been a long time coming, and I suspect that it will still take quite a while, even though we basically have enough material for it. But having day jobs, families, it's not that easy to find common time to finalize and record the album. But anyway, that's enough for now. Hope you find it interesting, and I would like to kind of especially thank some of my newer subscribers and of course the older ones, but I had a rough patch kind of finding motivation to do videos because all of that extra gardening work, but seeing quite a few subscribers join in it was like, hey, it makes sense to do these videos. So thanks, and see you next time. Bye bye.